Today is February 9th, 2017. This is the 650th regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting held at 1110 West Washington Street, Suite 250, Phoenix, Arizona 85007. You ready?
Yep.
I'll put it on.
All right. At this point in time, I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order, the 650th regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting. At this point in time, I'd like to ask for a roll call.
Commissioner Garay.
Present.
Commissioner Lawless.
Here.
Commissioner Heupel.
Here by phone.
Commissioner McClintock.
Here.
We're all present.
All right. The first item was executive session, and I don't think we're going to be needing one, and our counsel's not here, so we really don't have anything to go into executive session for. So we'll move on to the item that I'm very excited about, because it's been a long year. The first one is election of Arizona Racing Commission officers. So at this point in time, I think I would take a motion from somebody to...
I'd like to nominate Bill Feldmeyer. Tom Lawless for chairman.
I'll second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right. Madam Secretary, could you please call roll?
Commissioner Garay.
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless.
Yes.
Commissioner Heupel.
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, and I do believe we need a motion for vice chair.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Mr. McClintock.
I second.
Vice chair's pretty easy, Jeff.
Yeah. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
All right, Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Garay.
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless.
Yes.
Commissioner Heupel.
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock.
Abstain.
Well, it carries.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to going back down to the end. I should get reappointed. That was. All right. The next item is item 2, and I do know we have a few people signed up on the call to order. So after we've brought these items up, we will allow the people to speak on those. But the first item is request for Yuma County Fair, Inc. for a 3-year permit renewal of the following dates: March 17th, 18th, 24th, 25th, 2018, March 16th, 17th, 23rd, and 24th, 2019, March 21st, 22nd, 28th, and 29th of 2020. Mr. Stiles?
Yes, this is at the commission meeting last month. Yuma County had submitted their 3-year permit renewal. They submitted the application, which included an agreement with Turf Paradise. They have a County Board of Supervisors letter allowing them to apply for the race dates. That is in order. In your packet, you will also have, you actually have 2 letters. You have one from July 22nd, 2015, which had approved the dates for 17 and 18, and then you have another one that approves it for 19 and 20. So everything is in order, and the department recommends approval.
Is there anything?
I move we
Well, I know
approve.
we had some. Was there anyone? Vince, did you want to speak on regarding this?
I did, Mr. Chairman.
And actually, before you get going, I just see our council has arrived, and it does not look like we're going to need to go to executive session. So if you needed to get to the other hearing.
All right, well, very nice to see you all.
You're the new chairman. I'm sorry you got here too late. You're chairman of the Racing Commission.
Very good.
I apologize.
Vincent Francia, General Manager of Turf Paradise Racecourse. Thank you for allowing me to speak on these matters. The request that I'm about to make is identical to the one that I made at the Commission's previous meeting, and that is that the item that is up for discussion here be tabled. The reason being, the reasons being are the following. The way the system is set up now.
Jake,
I'm sorry.
You need to speak up.
Could you turn the mic up there?
There's,
There is a mic.
there's no mic.
Okay, it's up.
I'll speak this one. The reason for the request to table is threefold. First of all, the way the system is set up now, the 2%, the money is going into the what is known as the RWA, which in turn funds ADOR, the Arizona Department of Racing or Division of Racing. And so if money is taken out of that, if money is taken out of it for any other purpose, that actually affects the money that we are able to produce to fund the RWA, so there's an adverse impact. Secondly, as long as I've been here in Arizona connected with racing, and that's since 1990, fairs have been allowed to run their fair dates 4 days at the commercial permittee, in this case Turf Paradise. And that has worked well for them, but the money was always intended to go to fund the race meet, the 4-day race meet at those fairs. The money being generated now is being generated for other purposes or being used for other purposes. And I'm not here to fault those purposes. I'm assuming that they are worthwhile. But that's not the original intent this money was earmarked for. The third item, and this is not slight, what this is doing is forcing a private business, in this case Turf Paradise, into the role of what the county government and state government should be responsible for. And Turf Paradise is not a government. We do not act like one. We act like a business, but yet we are asked to assume this role in funding for this purpose. And it neither seems appropriate or fair.
And I do believe there was a couple others that would, unless anyone had any questions for
Vince, I do have a question.
Commissioner? Yes, sir.
You said you wanted it tabled. Is that to review further information in the future?
That is the purpose. My understanding is twofold, is that there may be a state agency that has funds. We are certainly willing to work with the fairs to access those funds, to investigate that. And secondly, if there is no such agency or the funds are not available, to, along with the personnel of the fair, the representatives of the fair, to do what lobbying is necessary in order to get their funding taken care of. Because again, I know the fairs depend on every dollar. I'm well aware of that. And it's not our intent to take and not supplement in some way, but we would need time for that. So that's the purpose of the request to take.
Well, and this does not start until 2018, so we definitely have some meetings before then. Is there any criticality that this gets done today that anyone knows of?
If you're asking me, the only thing I'll add that is that Yuma County did submit an agreement with Turf Paradise that is signed by both parties for this permit. Okay. You are correct that in fiscal year 2018, their day does not run until March 17th and 18th, 24th and 25th. So you are correct, you have some time, but they do have a signed agreement that was dated in 2000, if I'm correct. It looks like August of 2016. So.
And I think at the last meeting, Turf Paradise said they would honor any existing commitments, but I don't see a problem tabling this until give them an opportunity to explore other options, if there are other options, since we're talking about 2018 race dates.
All right, I think we had Eric. Did you want to?
Sure. Eric Wofford, Yuma County Fair. I believe after our last meeting, we went and talked to the previous fair manager and talked to him about our agreement with Turf as far as entering a contract to run county fair race dates. And with running the county fair race dates, Turf wasn't taxed for running county fair race dates. In turn, the fairs got 2% of the handle. So that was why the partnership worked so well. So I believe things have changed since then. So that's, I just to shed some light on you light on this, why the partnership worked. I know there were some questions. So we still want to work with TURF and and with ACRA in order to kind of come to an agreement. ACRA is going through some transition right now with the president. So whenever we have a chance to meet next, we would definitely try to set up a schedule to meet with TURF. So,
Eric, do you have a problem tabling this for a meeting or two, just to give you guys a chance to explore other options? Or?
I mean, we have till 2018. I don't know really. Either way, it's we already have an agreement.
Right.
So
my impression is that if you can't find another source of revenue to supplement the fair, the Turf Paradise will honor the agreement. So,
yes and no, I guess is the question.
Yeah.
I mean, the agreement's already handled, but if Turf really wants to go that direction, we just don't know on a timetable of when that's going to be as far as trying to get other entities involved. So,
yeah, myself, I have no problem tabling this one for a meeting or two, but there already are signed legal agreements in place, and we've just spent a year of dealing with some legal issues. That's not something I want to get into, but if it's just 1 or 2 meetings, 1 or 2 months, if you guys think you could work something out in that time, I would be okay with that personally.
Same here.
I don't know, did Jeremy want to speak regarding this item or?
Substantive review.
My apologies, that was in here.
There's
okay.
It says I have to have this done within 30 days.
Yeah, so you need a 30-day notice.
Right, well,
You just need to tell them.
I'm just waiting to see if we
So-
get something from
The only way this is going to change is if they change the statute or breach their agreement. I mean,
Okay. There is an issue that I want to bring up is I am required to have these permits done in a timely fashion. Okay, I've got a administrative completeness stage as well as a substantive stage, which is a 30-day. Okay, I'll have to seek advice as far as what I need to do on that. In the substantive stage is the part where I ask for additional information, and I think in statute that I have a 30-day window to do that, okay, and to have everything completed. So,
however, the commission does have the authority to issue permits, and if it's your option to delay that approval, that's in your discretion. So.
Well, personally, I'd like to see the other options explored. I mean, I feel confident that TURF will honor this if that's the only option. But from the sake of the department, I mean, it's my impression that everything's being explored. Other ways to fund the RWA or fund the department. Other ways to fund the fair permits. So,
well, based on Turf Paradise verbal agreement and the signed agreement, it could work out either way, whether we approve or delay the approval. Bottom line, they still have the option of looking for alternatives. Right. So.
Yeah. How would it affect you, Vince, if we approve this?
Mr. Commissioner, TURF's request stands that TURF will abide by the will of the Commission.
But that wouldn't prevent you from continue to look to work together to figure out additional funding.
Other sources of funding.
We honor our agreements, if that's what you're asking.
Well, what I'm asking is, if we approve this today, you still have the ability to search for alternative funding methods. So, I mean, obviously we saw the signed agreements. So we know they're in effect. We know Greg signed them. We know Dave signed them. And but we don't want to tie your hands. I mean, we don't want to do something that would limit your ability to seek other methods of funding. So, I mean, I think the agreement should be approved, but I also think you guys should have the ability to continue to seek alternative methods of funding. So my question is, if we approve this today, does that tie your hands in any way?
Turf will honor the agreements. What tabling a motion does is, or in this particular case, the one that's before the commissioner, is that's the spark that gets the fire going. If the agreements are approved, then the spark isn't really quite there. That's the purpose of tabling any item. Again, Turf will abide by the vote of the commissioner.
I think if Eric doesn't have any problem with tabling it for a meeting or two, I'd support tabling it.
Okay.
If it's not an issue with your 30-day, your other obligations is trying to get the information out within 30 days. It sounds like it's going to.
In my mind, you've met your obligation.
Right.
Our obligation is we're pushing it down, kicking it down the road for another 30 days. And I would just like to hear from council. Does that cause a problem, or?
He's probably going to have to renotice it. That would be my idea.
Okay.
Roy, I have a question for Vince.
Sure.
This agreement was signed roughly 6 months ago. What has changed, I guess, in the last 6 months? Did I miss something?
And Vince, that was for you.
That was for you.
The question was, this agreement was signed 6 months ago. What has changed in the last 6 months?
Commissioner Vincent here. We routinely sign these agreements as they come in on a basis. What has changed is what we've noticed is the amount of money that is being paid out to the fairs, and number one, how that affects our revenues that are generated for the RWA and the adverse impact that it has. So that is what has changed. We took notice to something that heretofore we had not noticed.
And we got Lloyd and then Jay.
Mr. Chairman, Lloyd Yother, President and Commissioners, President of the HBPA. As a stakeholder and just a point of interest, if we do this, does this extend the obligation out past what it would be as of today? Meaning, how far out has Turf Paradise committed to these guys? Because if it gets extended further out and we do find another source, we're not going to be able to void the contracts or whatever. I mean, I really don't understand how it works, but I guess my point is if it extends our Turf Paradise's commitment, then that should be looked at as well. It's just a comment.
It looks like it extends 2018, 2019, and
2020.
Yeah.
3 years.
I mean, sounds like the commitment's already been made. It's just a matter of if we can find alternative sources of funding, then everybody will be happy.
Jay?
At Jay Wells, Retail Park Foundation and Retail Racing. Is it my understanding that they're basically just asking for a permit at this particular point, but does the contract that exists go past the 3 years?
No, it does not go past.
So in essence, the agreement to pass the permit would not put any sort of legal binding between Turf Paradise and Yuma County, and consequently, as the other commercial permittee holder, you're basically just saying that they have the right to sell these things. There's no obligation for Turf to have to do business past this original contract. Is that correct?
I think that's correct.
Yeah. Is there another contract that we don't have?
No, but you've got one coming up. How do you feel about it?
Well, I do believe, I think Vince is absolutely right. It's math, and it's just simply that the collateral damage to Turf Paradise and other commercial permittees is that indeed the money that we would otherwise give to the department is going to the fair, ergo creating a deficit in the budget, which just has to be made up by the RTA. And clearly, Turf Paradise takes the vast majority of that burden. So I certainly see this point. However, I do believe it's in the interest of all commercial permittees and fair permittees to see a way to get the fair races going again. I do believe that the formula that exists right now, as Vince stated, is incorrect and does need to be addressed. The issue about whether monies that would flow to the department go to counties that do not hold fair racing, to me, seems to be, again, a collateral damage. They may have at one time had horse racing, but they no longer. So I, as a commercial permittee and just a horse racing fan, I see the error in that formula. I don't think that was a purposeful formula created, but that is the collateral damage of the way it's evolved. I personally don't see any problem in granting the permits. And Vince has already said that they would honor the contracts in place as we would. But I do believe that the whole issue of how to get more rural horses and Arizona horses and grow the industry from the base is something that all stakeholders should sit down and try to find a way to support that. But this was not my part of on the agenda. But I did want to say that I think Vince is absolutely right. It is just math. Thank you.
Well, the current formula that we're living under is legislated to us, correct? It's in
511E.
It's also contractual.
Right.
It's contractual.
Yeah, 511E is the statute.
So any changes to the formula, it's going to have to be the good folks down there that are in session right now. And regardless what we do, whatever changes they make is going to override what we do. So if we vote this in and you're able to work with them and find a better solution, that's what's going to be the solution. So I'm just now kind of back to, I don't know what tabling may get us.
One comment on that is that again, the idea is that we're giving these counties the right to sell these fair days. There's no obligation for commercial tracks to have to pick up those fair days. So ergo, Sonoyta could buy fair days from another county. Cochise County could buy fair days from another county. So we're not prohibiting or blocking an avenue for the fair permittees to be able to generate that revenue necessary, but they would be generating it through the fair portion of it and not necessarily the burden of the commercial tracks.
So I think, was the thought, Vincent, that if we tabled it, that would spark somebody to start discussing making the changes, or?
Mr. Chairman, that's been my political experience.
Mr. Chairman, Eric, and that's really what we've already kind of just said we're going to do. So it's just a matter of the time of getting with ACRA and with TURF and the other counties and coming up with, and it's really on the legislative side if you look at the state statutes. So really, what was once not taxed, and not technically, they're not sold, they're in agreements too. So once, I think once that was, they weren't taxed, and now I think now they are being taxed. So I think that's where the rub is, and we need to figure out where the language is as far as for county fair race dates. What is it that's originally not being taxed, and that's again the partnership, and where if that's still the case, and then coming up with legislation through. To try to resolve that issue, because I know there's statutes. I think it's 511, but it's also D and C.
I mean, I just don't really know if us tabling it is going to spark somebody down at the legislature to want to do something. I mean, I think I myself, I would be willing to work with you, with legislatures on trying to get something changed to help. I mean, we do need to make changes when working together, but I just don't know us tabling it is really going to cause interest down there. Of course, I don't have contact with the folks down there, so I don't know if somebody could speak that it would or wouldn't. Is there any further discussion? Thoughts?
Oh, I think I'm thoroughly confused.
Yeah.
So, if we vote to table it, do we have to put a limit? Like, do we have to say table until June, until the June meeting, or table it until the next meeting,
I wouldn't want to table it too long, because if the thought is sparking interest, my thought would be 30 days. I want to light a fire and get this taken care of. I don't want to be goofing off with a 6-month wait, then find out when it comes up, no fire's been lit.
Okay. Yes.
Chair, real quick,
State your name again, please.
Eric, Yuma
Thank you.
County. If it's my understanding for this year, even for 18's legislative budget to try to change legislation, most of the bills, the deadline is like today or tomorrow. So regardless if we table it for 30 days, you're still looking at 19 or 20 to try to get legislation in, if I'm not mistaken. So
And the House has already changed strike everything rule, so that any strike anything bill has to be germane to the original bill, so there's no way of probably getting it in at the last minute through the House.
So, again, just
Is there any benefit in delaying that?
Yeah, I don't see really a benefit in delaying personally. I don't see the House or Senate getting a fire lit under them because of what we did. If they did, we would be bringing Greyhound Racing back for my fire. But
absolutely.
I've just been notified that all the deadlines have passed for the bills.
Okay. So really, they couldn't do anything until next year's session anyway.
It's tomorrow for the Senate.
Tomorrow is for the Senate, I'm sorry.
Okay.
But the good people down there are busy.
Yeah.
So.
Me personally, I would say I would just like to just move this on and not delay it. But that's me. I'm just one vote. So unless there's further discussion, I will entertain motions. Or a motion.
Given the timing of everything, I move we approve.
Do we have a second?
I second. Yeah.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Madam Secretary?
Commissioner Gray?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless?
Yes.
Commissioner Heupel?
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock?
Yes.
Okay, Yuma County Fair's permit carries.
Okay. All right, item 3 is Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commission for a 3-year permit for the following dates: February 11th, 12th, 2017, and March 18th and 19th, 2017. February 10th and 11th, 2018, and March 17th. Well, or did I screw up?
No,
Okay.
keep going.
March 17th and 18th, 2018, March 19th and 10th, 2020.
No, March 9th and 10th.
March 9th and 10th, I'm sorry.
Oh, excuse me, February 9th and 10th. I'm on a roll with
See,
you.
I'm so ready to give up the chair. February 9th and 10th, 2020, and March 16th and 17th, 2020.
Actually, it's 2019.
Yeah, they skipped a year.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're 17, 18, 19. This is for the current year, 17, 18, 19, 3-year permit.
Okay.
So there's a mistake here. It should be 2019.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my cover sheet. Then that would be my typo.
Look at your agenda.
My typo. My apologies. That is for 19.
I'm sorry, I didn't read it. Well, I read the package, but I didn't read this.
You need
All
to clear
right.
it up on both these dates.
All right, this is an agreement between the Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commission with Rito down in Tucson for their 17, 18, and 19 fiscal year dates. Take note that the 2017 would be this weekend, and everything is in order. The contract is signed. The Pima County Board of Supervisors have given their approval, so we recommend approval.
It was really exciting to see on Facebook the announcement that you did get it with the Board of Supervisors.
If I may. Dr. Ramirez, the chair.
Sorry, please identify yourself.
Jay Wells, Rito
Thank
Racing,
you.
Rito Park Foundation. Geronimo Ramirez, the chair of the board, was planning on being here today, but for some reason he's been held up. And so in lieu of his absence, I did want to explain why the late request for the day, because I do think that's warranted. And unfortunately, Forrest Metz, who had been the chair of the commission, died unexpectedly in his sleep back in November, and so there was clearly disarray on the board. There was a meeting held last night, and I was impressed with their involvement and interest in getting the fair racing for Pima County going back in. We're proud to be partners with them. It seems like it's something that, especially at our little track, having the rural horsemen come and having an ability to a place to run the fair races. For those that you don't know, a fair race only requires one work, so it allows folks that really aren't full-time horse racemen, etc., to come in and bring their horses and get them up and running. So we're excited. The horses are at the track, and I'll tell you more about that in the report. But are there any questions about the fair request?
Not really.
Appreciate the approval. Thank you.
Good.
I move we approve.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Madam Secretary?
Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless?
Yes.
Commissioner Heupel?
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock?
Yes.
Okay, Pima County Fair's 3-year permit carries.
Jay, just wanted to let you know, I am planning to come on down Saturday. Looking forward to seeing the racing and visiting with the folks down there.
If I may, Dr. Ramirez walked in while I was speaking. Could he address the board, please?
Certainly.
Thank you, Board. Duran Moramitas, I am the chairman of the Pima County Fair Horse Racing Commission. As Jay said, we had a meeting last night, and we were really hoping that we get our race dates because we had planned, on this, and it's very important for our community. And we have lots of horsemen waiting there, hoping that if they don't get these dates, then they're going to have workouts elsewhere. It's going to create quite a hardship for our horsemen down there. So we're hoping that allow our dates.
We did, and I will be there Saturday to see the first run.
Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the next item, if there was, yeah, we did.
You didn't vote.
Oh, we didn't vote.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You had a motion and a second, I believe.
Yeah. And then we did.
On Pima County?
Yeah, did they vote?
They did a
Okay.
roll call and it carried.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
all right, sorry.
Yep, you're fine.
We're all having a bad day. All right, the next item is 4, request from Tucson Greyhound Park for a 3-year permit renewal for fiscal years 2017, 18, and 19. I know I reviewed personally the package well and found everything in order, so I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Stiles.
Yes. Tucson Greyhound Park submitted their application on October 28, 2016, which was well within the deadline before their current permit expired. We reviewed the application. Everything looks to be in order. Carrie Alvarado, who is here today, did the financial investigation. Everything looks to be in order. We would recommend approval.
I have nothing. Does anyone have any questions?
I move we approve.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Madam Secretary?
Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless?
Yes.
Commissioner Heupel?
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock?
Yes.
Okay, Tucson Greyhound Park 3-year permit carries.
All right, thank you. The next item is 5, that's request from Yoto Racing to amend 2017 race dates.
Yes, back in October 2016, you guys approved 14 days, which originally included a Friday, February 17th. Rito has requested that Friday date be moved to March 3rd of 2017. And we would recommend that they do that.
Move we approve.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Madam Secretary?
Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless?
Yes.
Commissioner Heupel?
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock?
Yes.
Okay, Rito's amended race dates are carries.
Item 6, request from the Cochise County Fair Association to amend 2017 race dates.
And this will help clarify some of our discussion today. Back in November 2016, Cochise County Fair had asked for a total of 6 race dates, their county fair. They are running live on April 22nd and 23rd at their facility in Douglas. So they originally asked for April 8th, 9th, 15th, and 16th. Those dates were not available at Turf Paradise, but they had come to an agreement to February 19th, 20th, 26th, and April 23rd of 2017. So on April 23rd, they will be running live at their facility in Douglas, and they will also hold a county fair date at Turf Paradise. Our discussion of where the 2% goes, I would serve this as an example of where that 2% live pari-mutuel tax is going to help fund the county run a live race meet, which I think is a goal of what everybody's looking for. Everything is in order. Since it's been approved back in November 16th, it's just a matter of changing the dates.
I see no issue with changing the dates.
I move to approve.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Madam Secretary?
Commissioner Garay?
Yes.
Commissioner Lawless?
Yes.
Commissioner Heupel?
Yes.
Commissioner McClintock?
Yes.
Okay, Cochise County's amendment is approved and carries.
I promise I won't take them home. All right, now we are to the information reports, turf safety report, the first item up.
Dr. Scott Waterman is down at Riedo. I will be down there as well for the next several weekends. We got you the report. Again, Scott reiterates that Turf Paradise has been very cooperative on anything that have been addressed. He did early in the morning tour the track and noted some lighting issues. On the 24th, he toured it, noted some lighting issues. He is committed to going back there and to see it. He also toured the backstretch with the HVPA and noted some of the things down there that both Lloyd and Leroy and Wendy had indicated. There's no significant things that he sees. And he apologizes for not being here, but we're
He's got a job to be doing.
running two racetracks at one time.
Yeah.
He's going to give us an updated report at the next meeting.
Yes. If it's not at the next meeting, because the next meeting will be Riedo, we'll still be down there. They'll continue with these reports.
Okay.
And when I'm there, I don't know yet what time I'm getting Saturday, but I would like to do a walkthrough in the backside Saturday morning.
We have done that every day, and we'll continue.
But yeah, thank everyone involved that is doing work on this. Much appreciated. It was a very thorough and good report that Dr. Waterman presented. All right, the next item is number 2, legislative update. And I don't know if Kelly Bears is included.
For the record, Aiden Fleming with the Arizona Department of Gaming. A little bit of update. I have 2 bills, 1 Senate resolution, and 1 budget item. The first one, 2358, is dog racing conforming changes. It's basically an agency bill. It's the department's attempt to basically put Title V on a diet. There was some racing rules left over from dog racing. We're going through and we're striking out. Met with Greg and kind of went over it in kind and took a lot of conforming changes, technical changes. So no strikers on that, please. The second bill, 2431, just came down yesterday, actually. I think Jay's here, but the bill does 2 things from my reading. It basically keeps the dome over Pima County intact for the simulcast. And then it also allows for additional simulcast days beyond 20 if there's an agreement with the horsemen. So those are the 2 main things that it does in 2431, and that is sponsored by Representative Claude Felter, and it appears the majority of the Pima County legislators have signed on to that. The third item is SCR 1014. This is interesting because it's just a simple technical change. It appears to be a vehicle. Usually a Senate concurrent resolution doesn't carry the same force of law. It's kind of like a letter to the editor in that sense, is kind of how I always see it. We usually use them, the legislature uses them to make a statement to the federal government or to the state about what they think as a combined resolution. This is interesting. It just makes a conforming change, and it was only sent to the Rules Committee. So I think the general idea of what is maybe going on is it could be a vehicle bill for a striker later on, or for a resolution later on. The last item is really a budget item. Basically, the department recommended a continuation of the $200,000 given last year for the Breeders' Awards. That, in the governor's budget that came out in January, is not continued, even though with the department's recommendation, the governor's budget did not include that item. So as it stands today, the Breeders' Awards are not going to continue through to 2017. One issue is that the budget is obviously, as you know, isn't complete. In April, the legislature, the negotiations really kick into high gear. So it doesn't mean completely that the Breeders' Awards will go away. It's just that was the statement given out in the governor's budget plan. Those are generally what's going on. It's been a pretty light year so far for racing. Any other, like you mentioned before, I did want to make a point of the strikers. As you mentioned, the rules had been changed in the House under the new speaker. So the striker rules, as you say, it has to be more germane, and it's a little harder to get a striker through. In the Senate, however, the striker rules are maintained to where a little bit more lax, if you can put it that way. But with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
I don't have any at this time, but definitely appreciate the report.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
No, I don't.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me. Can I ask questions about the Breeders' Fund?
I'll allow that.
I'm sorry?
I'll allow that.
Lloyd Yother, Chairman, Commissioners. Lloyd Yother with the Arizona HBPA. If I heard him correctly, I can't hear too good, but I understand that there's still a possibility that the Breeders' Funds can be added back into the budget. Is that correct?
That's what I understood.
Mr. Chair, yes, that's correct.
We worked over 2 years. These funds were extremely higher than that, and last, this is kind of immaterial at this point, but when we got this thing through, it was committed that they would put $250,000 in. When it came out, they put $200,000 in, and now they've struck it, and are taking it out of the budget. And we fought for a number of years to try to get this back in to help save our industry, and it's imperative that we do whatever possible, and with the support of the commission, to support our request for funds for the breeders. It's desperate. So we will be working through the legislature as well, trying to figure out what we need to do to try to get that added back into the budget. But I just want to make everybody aware of the situation. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next one is permittee reports, not to exceed 3 minutes. American Greyhound Racing.
Nothing to report.
Thank you. And actually, before, Joanne, you had signed up for the agenda, but it was you had just put down Pima County, so I'm not sure which item that was going to be under.
It's actually, I wanted to introduce Pima County Board of Supervisor Allie Miller, who came up to the meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll do that right after Tucson Greyhound Park, or in the next section. Okay. County fairs?
No, Jay.
Jay? I know you have something.
Well, 48 hours from now, the doors will open for our first day of racing for the spring. We've got 14 days. including 2 Friday evenings. The request for a modification to the dates was basically working with the department to make sure that we pushed that Friday further into where daylight and sunset would be a little bit longer. So in the interest of safety, we did that and agreed to a 2:30 post time, which we think was a smart suggestion on their part. We're very excited. I can't tell you what a threshold moment it was to have the Pima County Board of Supervisors to give us an extended lease on life. That was passed unanimously, and while Ms. Miller is here, I'd like to thank you personally and from the representative of the board. The vote of confidence has meant more than we ever thought it might. The energy and the people coming out to support the track to now want to be part of something that they know it's not a year-to-year offering is something more valuable than I dreamed it would be. Thank you very much to Greg Stiles again for working with us through all of these issues. We have more horses at the track than, I think, twice as many horses as we had this time last year in light of the equine virus. Everyone's excited. The attitude of the horsemen down to the maintenance people and certainly the board and everyone in Pima County, we're eternally grateful for what's happened, and we think it does one thing: it gives us a chance to succeed, and that's really all we've ever asked. I invite all of you to come down this year. It's a buzzing place and a lot of fun, and we're happy for the chance to go into the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Turf Paradise?
We're good, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Tucson Greyhound Park?
Also good, thank you.
All right. Next item is 4 optional industry stakeholder association update, not to exceed 3 minutes. We'll start off with the Arizona Counties Racing Association.
Eric Wofford, Vice President, Arizona ACRA. Not really much to add than what I've already kind of talked about earlier today, but again, I want to, one thing to reiterate is our willingness to want to work with Turf and the other tracks in order to, and the other county fairs, to bring county fair racing back to county fairs.
Thanks. Arizona Greyhound Association. I don't see Bill, but on his behalf, I would just like to congratulate Gloria Dorsey, who had Arizona roots. She had, was a trainer at, I believe she did a lot at Phoenix Greyhound Park and also Apache Junction, but her dog, Oaks Mandy, was the winner of the Greyhound 550 this year, the champion dog in the nation. So congratulations. It was kind of nice to see some Arizona roots there. Next item is Arizona Quarter Racing Association.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Loretta Brazier. I'm the Executive Director of the Arizona Quarter Racing. This is a wonderful time of year for Rito opening this weekend, and so quarter horse racing is actually being done in 2 different places, and I'm so happy to report that we are working together with having continued horse racing, quarter horse racing at Turf Paradise on Mondays and Tuesdays, along with the weekends down at Rito. So along with Jay, I would like to invite everybody to come down too. It's electric. It's something that you don't find very many places because of the people. There's so many people there, and it's just really electric. County fairs, I hope that you guys, you know, I've come to these meetings for many, many years, and we've talked about the county fairs. The county fairs really, really, really need our help. And if there's some way that you guys can, when you're talking about all this, if you can get all the fairs to work together. I know that there are a lot of fairs out there, like Yuma County and several, that they don't race. But the ones who do race, like Sonoyta and Douglas, I mean, it costs these counties a lot of money to put on just one weekend. So I would ask you, please don't take those opportunities away from the counties that are still out there wanting to run, because it behooves us to keep county fair racing going along with our commercial tracks. Breeders' Awards, my gosh, I know. I mean, if we don't get our Breeders' Awards back, you know, I see a real influx in the quarter horse guys. You know, I used to say there was, if you got in an airplane and went, you'd see a mare and a colt or in everybody's backyard instead of a swimming pool. Well, I'll tell you, I can see that coming back, but it's going to go away again if our Breeders' Awards go away. So, thank you for the opportunity to speak to them.
The Thoroughbred Breeders Association.
morning.
Good morning.
Debbie Zimmerman. I'm the sales coordinator for Arizona Thoroughbred Breeders. Very happy to report we had a very successful sale. And our next project coming up is the Arizona Festival. And I'm sorry to hear about the Breeders' Awards going away because our horsemen really need that money. So I hope we can work together, get something going for that. Thank you.
Lloyd, you're on deck.
Me. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Lloyd Yother with the Arizona Quarter Association, used to be, past president. President of the HBPA. I'd like to introduce Mr. Leroy Guessman. He's our new executive director that's come on board since the passing of our past director, Tom Metzen. I'll let Leroy address you as well, but he comes to us with a lot of experience and knowledge of the industry, and he's well placed, and I'm glad to have him. I'm looking forward to being like Roy, where he can step out of the chair. I'm looking to be stepping out as president. Anyway, Leroy.
Commissioners, it's nice to meet you guys, and it's been an interesting commission meeting. I've been in several of them in other states, and you guys did a great job here today. I'm happy to be in Arizona. I'm not here to take Tom Metzen's place. That's something nobody can do, but I'm here to carry on. Tom was a good friend of mine, and I know his direction and how he'd want things to go, and I'm just happy to be here to help Lloyd out with it. Thank you.
I think we have a lot of challenges ahead of us, and get everyone working together. And hopefully we can do this. I know Tom would definitely had wanted that. So welcome aboard.
Welcome. Thank you.
And then I have a couple of more things. With that being said, Leroy comes to us from Iowa. I don't know if he mentioned that or not. I wasn't paying attention, but from Iowa, he was instrumental in helping get gaming in Iowa at the racetrack. So maybe he can help us move forward with that at some point in time when the time's right. Working with the government, I don't know if the time's ever right. But anyway, there is a couple of things that I want to address just for the record. As I stated earlier, we're a stakeholder. We represent the horsemen of Arizona, and not just Turf Paradise. And I find it difficult to even ask for some meetings with Rito, with the racetrack, with the foundation. They don't seem to think that it's necessary that they meet with the HBPA, and for the record, I'd like to put that on record. We've had several meetings. It's been canceled over the past few weeks. They're asking for simulcasting privileges, which I did authorize, but that can be canceled at any time, and unless we get some cooperation from Rito and their race meet, maybe I'll come back to you with some, asking for some help. Okay? Thank you very much. Any other questions for me?
No, I definitely, with what you just said, I think it is critical for all aspects. You know, this year we've all got to work together.
Exactly.
You know, to save our industry and then grow it. And I think that should be our challenge going forward this year. Let's work together on every aspect.
And there's one other thing, that bill that was dropped yesterday, they come from the racetrack people and from their representatives in Tucson. Blindsided me, I know nothing about it, so I don't know where it's coming from, so we need to take a hard look at that.
Jay?
Jay Wells, Retail Racing, Retail Park Foundation. Lloyd, I hope you'd recognize that with the passing of the vote for the Board of Supervisors as recently as 2.5 weeks ago, we have been just absolutely running and gunning to try to get the meet open. I know there have been conversations with Mike Weiss. You were in transition with a new executive director, but wholeheartedly we embrace what the HBPA does. Especially in our case where we're a 501c3, the Horsemen are partners just as much as anybody else on the management side of things. So I hope that your comments were taken with a little bit of salt, in the sense that we are trying to get going, and now we've just finally got a chance to breathe. Please give us that chance to mature. We will work with you at every chance that we can possibly do. We look forward to a meeting that I believe is scheduled for next week. But believe me, we have been running 16-hour days since the vote to try to just pull this meet off, and I hope you'd understand that. That's my only comment. Thank you.
I do. Thank you.
Thank you all. All right, Jockeys Guild. Nope, maybe the next chairman will get lucky. Somebody from the Jockeys Guild.
I spoke with them today.
All right, Joanne.
Dr. Joanne DeFilippo, and I'm here. I actually want to say thank you very much, Commissioner Gore, because you brought up something earlier, just a little while ago, talking about the challenges that we face and throughout this state and throughout horse racing. And as a result of that, one of the things that we, whether I'm speaking on my behalf as a racehorse owner or somebody involved with horse racing, let's say from a non-racehorse owner perspective, is to help people who can help make us face these challenges and possibly make changes. And one way to do that is through bringing to the table here our governmental officials that can learn more about our industry, the challenges we're facing. And with that, I would like to introduce Pima County Board of Supervisor Allie Miller, who this is her first time coming to a commissioners meeting, and I want to give her an opportunity to address you.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am Supervisor Allie Miller, serving my second term in Pima County, and I did come specifically to learn more about the racing, and I really appreciate your support of the Pima Fair Race Commission this morning in approving those dates. And I will vouch for Mr. Wells that the Board of Supervisors did continue that meeting, so it has put them under the gun. And we appreciate everything that you do in support of Pima County racing. It's a very important part of our economy down in Tucson, and we need to keep it going. And if there's anything that I can do as a supervisor to provide any kind of support for you or the folks running the track, I would like to offer that up, and we will be coming to more meetings. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
Thank you. With that saying, as outgoing chair, I would just like maybe to say to the incoming chair that maybe we look at the challenge of this year of fostering more relationship between us and all the people involved, whether it's the County Board of Supervisors and all that, to do what we can to support our industry and keep it going and build it. So the next item is E, summary of current events affecting the Arizona Racing Commission, and that was just mine for you for the next. Is there anything that we need to look at?
Just want to mention, Chairman, along with what you just said, the Division of Racing will be starting every month meeting with stakeholders, and my plan is to try to keep this conference room open for a longer period of time so that after the commission meetings we can continue to have meetings with stakeholders to discuss any concerns that they may have and try to get better relations between everybody. So that's the intent.
Excellent. Good idea. Is there any matters that need to be placed on the upcoming agenda? All right, the next regular Arizona Racing Commission meeting is tentatively scheduled to be held Thursday, March 9th, 2017 at 10 a.m. right here in the same room, Building Conference Room 250, second floor. With that said...
Did you do a call to the public, sir?
We didn't do the call to public. Everyone that signed up has spoken.
But
we'll
some
go ahead
people
and do a
come
call.
in afterwards, so if
Yeah.
you could, is
Do
there
a
a
call
call?
to the public. Is there anyone? And
Thank
please
you.
pass this over before I walk out with it.
Okay, so no call, nobody's speaking?
No calls?
Okay.
Okay, at this time, I'll entertain an exciting motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Yippee.
Thank you. It is 11 a.m. and this meeting is adjourned. 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 And this meeting